we have ruined any chance of Zach Wilson ever starting for the Jets again.
Why?
Because of how Mike White played, number one.
Amazingly, that is.
Number two, the locker room's reaction, the receivers' reactions. That's why. It's hard to deal with. It's come on, let's just look at the human aspect of it. And we were supposed to do the Mojo draft for a second. Let's talk about the Jets for a second. Let's talk about the Jets for a second. Because let's talk about it from a human perspective, right? Let's just do the from a podcast perspective, right? Let's relate it to us, right? If somebody brand new comes here and is on a mic, he's now part of the show, and the comments love him.
Kind of like me.
And one of them, they're like, yo, we hate this guy so much. We never want to see him again. The co-hosts are like, yo, yeah, this guy's the best. You would not feel outcasted in that situation.
You would.
I think Zach Wilson feels outcasted now.
But what if the podcast host never was prepared, didn't contribute to the conversation, didn't ever have a good debate with any of the other co-hosts, didn't have any chemistry with the co-host? Is it his fault? Is it the new guy's fault?
Is it the guys at the table's fault?
No, it is the person who is unprepared. It's his fault.
If I invested into that motherfucker, he's gonna stay. I don't care. He's gonna stay. If I gave him a big time contract, why haven't the Broncos bench Russ? Because he's the guy. He's the guy. They're financially more obligated and obliged to.
And who we started?
Russell Wilson. I know,
but Russell Wilson has a track record of being fucking a
10
top
years,
5
10 years
quarterback,
plus.
bro.
Okay, but I'm saying with Zach Wilson, benching him, I will say, because I don't want to act like I'm being a Zach Wilson defender, because I think Zach Wilson was wrong, right? I think if Zach Wilson, he could have had that bad of a game. If he came out and owned it and said, I played like shit, the defense, we let them down, I had to be better. He starts against the Bears. There's no doubt. Definitely. I think he has a good game against the Bears. So I give Zach Wilson blame. There is no doubt. But after Robert Saleh said after that moment, Zach Wilson apologized to the team. Heartfelt message. Maybe it happened, maybe it didn't. Who cares? That's what they said happened.
They said he did.
I would have been like, okay, you know what, Zach? You get one more game. Like, if you play bad against the Bears, it's over. It's over. But at least give him the chance, because Mike White came in and he just took this motherfucker's job. Like, it's as simple as that. There's no going back to Zach Wilson after this. There's not. I don't know how there's a scenario. I don't care what Robert Saleh said. He said that once Zach gets rolling, he's going to roll. I don't give a fuck about what he said. He's capping. That's not going to happen. Mike White, you want to see the schedule of pass defense he's going to face to end the year? 32nd, 20th, 28th, 24th, 21st, 22nd. There's a reason when Zach Wilson was struggling, when he came back, I said, just wait till the second half of the season. This is where he's going to take off. His takeoff moment is not going to happen because Mike White's going to take advantage of this opportunity. And to me, they just closed the door on Zach ever being or starting for the Jets again. I don't think he's going to start for the Jets again. I don't.
God.
I don't. I think he's going to get traded in the offseason to another team.
Okay.
And, maybe Zach Wilson all in all is going to be a bust, right? Maybe he's just never good. He's going to be a bust. He's never going to pan out as a quarterback. And the Jets were right to move forward with Mike White. I don't believe Mike White's a long-term answer. I do believe regardless of how the situation plays out in the offseason, we will get a proven veteran quarterback. But I at least want to see Zach have the chance. And I don't feel like against the Bears, he had no chance.
Joel,
what do you mean he didn't have a
Joel, hold on, Joel.
Come on, bro.
Joel, you need to quit it, bro. You need to quit it. Before I even go in, last week I said I would have started Zach Wilson the first half against 100%. The Bears.
You were right.
I would have done it. I think, like you said, you do a easier pass defense, hope Zach gets some confidence, whatever. The way Mike White played, there's two ways to view it. You can have this old school Jets view like Joel has that it's the Jets. Of course things go this way. Of course it's always bad news with the Jets, and our franchise quarterback is a bust, and now we have this 5th, 6th round pick come in and he looks good and he's going to take his... You have that cynical view of the Jets. But if you want to have a newer view of the Jets, a new era type of view, and you look at this team as a whole, What have we been, or really just me, because we've had some very different vision of this Jets team. You have a much more long-term vision of you got to start Zach. He could be a franchise guy. It doesn't matter if you win or lose. Zach's got to develop, and he's got to go through growing pains. Well, I see this team for the first time in 7 years and second time in a decade have a chance to make the playoffs, have a top 5 defense, have guys that could win offensive rookie of the year, defensive rookie of the year, head coach of the year. This is the first time the Jets have ever had this. Our franchise quarterback is playing terrible. Mike White comes in, and this is the second time now that he has played at a high level. He put up 300 yards on 75% completion and 3 touchdowns. He got Elijah Moore going for the first time all season. Him and Garrett Wilson were rolling. Tyler Conklin got involved. What is there to say about Mike White that you can bench him? And it irritates me.
You can't
Joel,
bench
hold on. It irritates me because I know you watch ball, especially the Jets. I know you've watched every Zach Wilson throw probably 10 times. The way Zach Wilson has been playing this year, the pass defense does not matter. His feet work is atrocious. He cannot read the field. He bails out of the pocket. He makes too many hero ball plays. Zach Wilson's issue has not been that he's playing hard defenses. Zach Wilson's issue is Zach Wilson. His mechanics are off. He cannot. Mike White reads the field at an infinitely better level than Zach Wilson has. It sounds rude, but it's true. And the team and the player that gives the Jets a better chance to go to the playoffs and win a playoff game right now is Mike White. If Mike White struggles next week against the Vikings or the following week at Buffalo, you could pull him because he's a 5th round guy that the Jets got. I think he was drafted by the Cowboys or whatever. You could put Zach back in and hope he rebounds. We were talking before the show. We saw this happen with Mac Jones and Bailey Zappi, where Bailey Zappi starts. He got some momentum in that Packers game. They started him against New England, and then he got pulled because he sucked that first or second drive. Mac Jones came in, and he has not given that starting job up. Look what Mike White did. He took the starting job from Zach Wilson. If Zach Wilson wants to ever be a franchise quarterback, he has to have that mindset and the confidence knowing Mike White eventually is going to screw up, whether it's, actual poor play, he gets hurt, he's out for a few plays, a drive. I have an opportunity now to step in. Zach Wilson's job right now is to be more prepared than he has ever been at any stage of his career to come and take his job back. Because the way Mike White has played last week, the way he played last year in a couple of games, really just one, and the way this locker room is behind him, it is going to be very hard for Robert Saleh to come out and name Zach Wilson the starter without something catastrophic happening to Mike White.
There's a brand new fantasy app. It's called Boom Fantasy. You got over-unders, player props. You got matchups. This player versus that player. That's personally my favorite. And long shots. You can win 40 times your money. And if I'm not mistaken, Joel, NBA is coming soon.
Yes, sir. NBA will be in the app in the next 10 days or so. I believe opening night is October 19th, so we'll have stuff up a few days beforehand. That's going to be fun because we have it every night. You don't have to wait till Monday, Thursday.
Did you get your code? The League Pass?
I did get my code for League Pass.
I got my code too.
Yep, that's amazing.
That's from 2K, right?
Yes.
That's tough.
Amazing.
That's fire.
So if you guys haven't already, download the Boom Fantasy app right now. Link is in our description or in the caption wherever you're watching. I feel like a guy in a dark room with glow-in-the-dark shoes on because I'm the only one enlightened here. I do watch football, which is why, look, the footwork issues have been bad for Zach Wilson. There's no doubt. But let's not act like facing tough defenses hasn't been an issue. There was nobody open against the Packers. Nobody got open against the Packers. Did he miss some throws against Denver? Absolutely. But for most of the day, the secondary was on our guys like glue. There wasn't much leeway. Versus the Bills, he had a good game. Versus the Dolphins, he had a good game. Versus the Steelers, he started out rough. He gave us a chance in the fourth quarter. He had a game-winning drive in that fourth quarter. We're really only talking about Zach being benched because of the Patriot games. That's what we're talking about. Yes, he was awful. And I know that Mike White has played well. I don't think Mike White is completely trash. I think he's okay. He's okay. Does he give the Jets a better chance to win right now? Yes. I'm not going to say he doesn't. I think he's going to keep playing better, and it's obvious that he knows the offense better. There's no doubt. But I think benching Zach Wilson in this moment in time is going to do such an injustice for him, at least within the Jets organization and his future with the Jets. And the Mac Jones situation was different because he got benched because he got an ankle injury. And then Bailey Zappi came in, and he played well. Against the Green Bay Packers, he had like 99 yards. He didn't even play that well. Against the Lions, he played really well. Then against the Bears, Mac Jones got the start. He didn't play well in the first half. Bailey Zappi came in, and he didn't play well either. So then they just rolled with Mac Jones for the rest of the year. But Mac Jones lost his job because he got hurt, not because he was bad. Zach Wilson lost it because of the press conference and because he was bad and because he had a horrible game against the Patriots. But like, if we're talking about this from like a 2-week view, you play well against the Bills, you upset the Bills. He did it outside of the fumble, which Von Miller's just a machine. Zach Wilson didn't make any. He didn't have any turnover plays. He got the ball out quick. He did his job against the Patriots. Horrible game. So you're talking about in the past 2 weeks, you had a good game against top defense and a horrible one. This game was supposed to be the game where you bounce back tremendously versus the Bears. That's what I'm saying. I just feel like Zach's future with the Jets, the door is shut on it. That's what I feel. And yes, the Jets have a future. I'm not saying things are dark and gloomy with the Jets. That's not it. But at the end of the day, when the season comes to an end, and this could have happened even if we started Zach, we're going to have a quarterback issue. And Drew, you being a Broncos fan, know just how it feels when you have a great roster, but you don't have the quarterback. At the end of the day, if we don't have the quarterback, we don't have nothing going forward. Even if we have this great team around, we have this great team, we got these great skill position players. If we don't have the quarterback, we don't have nothing, especially in the loaded AFC. Was Zach Wilson going to be that? Probably not, right? The odds are he wasn't. I'd rather see it through, though. That's what I'm saying. I'd rather see it through.
How much more do you need to see of Zach?
Can I just see him against the Bears? That's not too much to ask. It's not. Can I just see him against the Bears? Because I know our franchise guy isn't Mike White.
The issue here becomes, you mentioned about these games where he wasn't bad, but we can just be honest. He wasn't great. He wasn't spectacular.
No.
He was average. And he coasted through those games being mediocre and was able to come away with the win because his team was better than the opposing team. The game against the Bills, the game against the Bills, you highlighted when you were going through the list of defenses that Mike White's going to play as them being a bottom 12 pass defense right now? They're 20th right now?
20th right now.
So, Zach Wilson had 150 yards. He had a good game for Zach Wilson's standards. But it's 150 yards.
In 2022.
But we all came away with it thinking he played well because why? He did his job, which was to be average. The issue here becomes, 1, you had a horrible interview. You had a horrible press conference. 2, Mike White just came in and had an eons better performance than you've had, period, all year long. How as a Zach Wilson supporter, when the best he's given you this season is average, how can you feel so strongly that he didn't give this away as opposed to the Jets kind of took it away from him?
Zach Wilson gave it away with the press conference. There's no doubt.
And his play,
his performance, yes. Yeah, if he had been way better, yes, he doesn't lose his job. There's no doubt about it.
No, you get a smack on the wrist. You get the coach saying, that's unacceptable. He will be better.
He would have to play way better too.
But I will,
if he was playing,
I want to emphasize the point of the press conference because I don't believe he got benched because of his performance. He ultimately got benched because of his answer to the media. That's why he got benched.
On top of also being bad.
My whole thing is not that Zach Wilson wasn't bad. I know he was bad. I know that he gave a stupid answer at the press conference, and hey, that probably is what led the entire locker room to turn on him. I don't doubt that. But when you have a young quarterback, you kind of have to see things through.
Joel.
You kind of do.
Joel, last week, did we not have a segment and you said, these are my top 5 wishes for the Jets quarterback next year? Lamar Jackson, Derek Carr, and so on and so on. You already gave up on him.
Because I think, yeah.
So what conversation are we having if we know Zach Wilson's not the guy?
But add context to that, we had that segment on the show when we knew Zach was not going to start.
Okay, Zach's still not going to start.
Up in the air at that point.
At that point, we had Jordan Schultz on. I invested into Zach that day because Robert Saleh came and said he wasn't committing to a quarterback. I knew he was going to get benched already.
Okay,
that's why I said that.
But we also know Zach Wilson's, unless Mike White plays bad, he's not going to be the starter. It's the same situation. We're not in any different situation than we were last week. I think, if anything, we're in a deeper situation because Mike White just played out of his mind. Last week, you were out on Zach. You said these are the quarterbacks the Jets should go after. Now you're saying you got to see it through. Which way is it?
You're misinterpreting what I'm saying, and I'm going to explain it right here. Because last week, when we had the segment, Zach already was not going to be the quarterback for the week.
Correct.
He was not going to be.
There's a strong belief.
Yeah.
Regardless.
There's a reason I shorted him. I knew he was going to start.
Yes.
So Zach Wilson not being the quarterback, Mike White gets to start, right? I think based on Zach Wilson's play, yes, there's a strong possibility that he wasn't going to be good, right? I'm already talking about options that the Jets should look out for in the offseason.
Yep.
A week removed, we're in a different situation. We're not just because last week it was. This is the difference between last week and this week.
Please, I'm really interested.
Last week, this was the storyline. Last week was Zach got benched. They want to work on his fundamentals. He'll eventually come back. That was the narrative last week.
Wait,
right?
hold on. You bought that? You bought that from Saleh.
Who's talking here? Didn't you just say that Zach's going to get back rolling? Didn't you buy that from Saleh earlier?
No, all I said was Saleh said that.
And you believed it.
No, if Mike White plays like that, no.
You said he left the door open for a return, though.
Yes, but the way Mike White has been playing, the way he just played, what are we talking about?
The difference is that last week, as Jets fans, we're like, okay, Zach Wilson has to figure himself out. Robert Saleh said he'll eventually be back this season. We'll see, right? We're in a different situation this week. Mike White had the game he had. The locker room had the reaction they had. We have footage of Zach on the sideline, which I think is a bit misleading, but that is a growing narrative now. Now it's not just about if Zach Wilson's going to come back from the benching. It's if Zach Wilson's going to be on the team next year.
We were having that conversation last week.
No, not like this.
If you get Lamar Jackson or Derek Carr, what's Zach Wilson doing on the roster?
Not like this, though. Not like this.
We were talking last week about replacements.
Not like this. Right now,
am I bugging out? If we're talking about replacements, quarterbacks, why are we assuming Zach Wilson's on the roster next year?
When we talked about the possibility of a Jimmy Garoppolo replacement, we said Jimmy Garoppolo to the Jets, but Zach and him compete in training camp. I think I've even heard those out of your mouth.
That's just one specific scenario we're talking about.
What I'm saying is that I think right now, where we are right now, Zach, there's zero chance Zach is a Jet next year. Zero chance. Last week, there was still a chance for him to come back from
what was the chance?
Easy. Saying zero.
Hold on. The only way is because you were assuming Mike White would be bad.
Saying 0% is assuming that Mike White, who he's played well. This is 2 out of 5 games that he has played. He played exceptional this past week, no doubt. It's Mike White. Let's pump the brakes to give it 0%.
Yes, let's be honest. Let's be honest. If Zach Wilson isn't a Jet next year, that means Mike White probably took us to the playoffs.
That's a fact.
If Zach Wilson is a Jet, that means he got his job back at some point and impressed. If Zach Wilson isn't a Jet next year, that's probably good news for the Jets because either Mike White played really well and got to the playoffs, or we went and got a Derek Carr, Jimmy G, whoever, and they said, you know what, we can't have Zach Wilson who lost the locker room already, whatever it might be. If Zach Wilson's not a Jet, if Zach Wilson's not a Jet next year, that means good things for the Jets this year.